Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. I got asked a couple of questions about the JCB chop saw video, and the first one was, does it have a UK plug? Yes, it does have a UK plug. So this video is aimed at the UK, but I'm sure in other countries it will be provided with the correct plug for the country that it's in. The other question was how to replace the blade, because the instructions is not very clear. I did have a look at the instructions, but usually all chop saws are the same. They're all the same principle, so you could probably apply the same procedure for removing the blade to any chop saw, because they're all pretty much similar in the way they're designed. As you can see, the guard gets in the way of the bolt that holds the blade in. Now you will have been provided with a spanner. Now I can't find it, it must be in my toolbox. So it is actually a 13mm spanner if you don't have one. Now I believe it's a hex spanner that you can use as well, so you can actually use an Allen key to remove it. Now just a couple of things you need to know is you need to lock off the saw, so you need to push the button in there. Now we'll get to that stage in a bit. You also need to know about this button here. This will lock the motor in, but we'll get to that as well in a bit. But the first thing you need to do is remove the guard. Now it is fairly straightforward. Just basically remove this screw here that's holding the arm on. And be careful to put these in a safe place. And then there is a screw there. What I'll do is get my camera a bit closer so you can see this. So this is the screw you need to remove. There. Now if you take it all the way out, the guard will just drop down like that. And make sure you don't lose the washers and everything, because them are important. Put them somewhere safe. Now this is the bit where you need to lock the saw off. So if you remember at the back there, so that the guard is in this position. As you can see, it's now all level. You remember the little locking pin there will hold all that in position, so that you can just hold the saw down, and it keeps the guard out of the way as well. So we'll turn the saw around and show you what this pin does. So this pin here will lock. Just show you the blade. The blade is moving there, so I've got my fingers in there, and I wouldn't recommend trying to do this with the power on, because you don't know what's going to happen. But when you push on that, it's really hard. So what you need to do is turn the blade around. I'm using my finger there just to move the teeth around very carefully. Eventually you should feel, there you go, it pops in, and it will hold the blade in place. So the next thing you need to do, once you've found where the locating lock is with that pin, is remove the blade. And this is how you do that. Just remove the camera away from there, turn the saw back around, so there you can see the bolt. Now it's a good idea to get your finger on the pin when you do this. Now I'm using the 13mm spanner, just put it on there. You need to go, there we go, I've just found the location of where the pin needs to slot in there. So you need to go the opposite way. So once you've undone the bolt, the thread is the opposite way to what it would normally be on a standard nut. So if you're trying to put this back in and you're trying to wind it in clockwise, it won't go in. It needs to go back in anti-clockwise. and it needs to be removed clockwise, if you see what I'm saying, because that is the opposite way of the way the motor's going. Helps keep it tight. So once you have removed it, just so you know, I did this earlier so that it'd be loose enough for me to do it with one hand. There's this washer here, this needs to come off, and then once you've got that off, the blade will just drop out, so you need to release the pin from the back again to release the saw so it goes back up, and there the blade comes completely out. Now when you put your new blade back in, you need to make sure that the rotation arrows are the same way as the saw goes, like that. Now that's usually on the face that's got the writing on. If you remove the blade, the other side of it has no writing on, so it's usually the side that has the writing on that goes back into the saw that way. And then obviously once you've got the saw back in, you put the washer back on. This will help locate. Now the washer doesn't have a round hole, it has a slight edges on it there to hold it in place, and again the nut goes back on there. So once you've got the bolt back in, like I said, the thread goes that way, so you're turning it anti-clockwise. As you can see, the blade is now moving, so again you need to push the pin back in, and the other side. There we go, locked it into place. Make sure that that is really tight, and then all you need to do is place all the guard bits back together. So we'll do that now. Just adjust the camera slightly. Forgetting to put the arm back on. So there you go, and you just press it down a few times, make sure that the guard is moving like it should be doing. So there you go, that is how you change the blade on a chop saw, and again that will apply to any chop saw that you buy. There's always a way of doing it, and that is the basic way of doing it, but you should be able to find your way around any chop saw. Like I said, most of them do have the locating pin there to lock the blade in position, but you do have to remove the guard, removing the couple of screws that I've just shown you. And again, don't forget that the bolt that holds the blade in is the opposite way on the thread, so it's the clockwise to undo it and anti-clockwise to put it back on. It's what they call like left hand and right hand threads, and like I say, that is because of the blade rotation. It goes the opposite way of where the blade's rotating to stop it spinning off. So yeah, like I say, that's how you change the blade. I hope you enjoyed the video, I hope you found it informative. If you do have any questions, don't be afraid to ask me, and I'll catch you again in another video soon. Thanks for watching.